Come, let us explore energy work for beginners. Together, let us relaxingly recite Bengali crease counting and energy work. In these days of technological terrors, we can easily time our meditation using the stopwatch app on our smartphones. In days of yore, however, one might time one's meditation session by burning 1, 2, or 3 sticks of incense, one after the other. This method of crease counting, however, was inspired by the techniques practiced by many Bengalis. Those of us living in countries enduring a rise in fascism know that although cranky officials in polyester could confiscate both smartphones and rosaries alike will most always have our hands, and by extension, this means of practicing crease counting. Those who have endured disabilities, numerous and lifelong, are often drawn to the energy work of Taoism as well as Tantric Buddhism. Although they could influence their body's channels, winds, and drops, or Nadi Prana Bindu in Sanskrit, through visualization and invocation, the easiest and most therapeutic method is to use the finger gestures, or mudra, that are part and parcel of this practice of Bengali crease counting. Beginning with the first pillar, over the span of 12 inhalations, we could touch the tip of our right thumb to the lowest, middling, and uppermost sets of creases upon its index finger. It could then count likewise upon its middle, ring, and then little fingers. Continuing with the second pillar, we could count sets of 12 inhalations each, this time with our left thumb. To count 4 sets, we could touch the tip of our left thumb to the lowest set of creases upon the index, middle, ring, and little fingers of our left hand. Yes, to count 8 sets, we could touch both the lowest and middling sets of creases upon the 4 fingers of our left hand. And even count 12 sets by touching the lowest, middling, and uppermost sets of creases upon the 4 fingers of the left hand. But typically we'll only count the 4 sets of 12 inhalations each. Finishing with the third pillar, we could gather 5 collections of 4, 8, or 12 sets of 12 inhalations each, in a manner that gently, therapeutically, and sustainably influences our channels, winds, and drops. Upon the tip of our left index finger, we could rest the great knuckle of our right index finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the crown region of our head. Upon all 4 knuckles, this is an editing opportunity. Upon all 4 fingertips of our left hand, we could rest all 4 great knuckles of our right hand, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the region of our throat that seems to tighten just before we cry. Upon the tip of our left middle finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the heart region of our chest. Upon the tip of our left ring finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Upon the tip of our left little finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Although these actions might not bestow upon us the miraculous actions of miraculous deeds, the miraculous powers of a Tolkien fever dream, They could assist our body's practice of the Buddha's mindfulness and meditation. Having completed our opening lesson, together as a team, let us shift gears. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Ouch. Together let us relaxingly recite. Whatever comes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Whatever stays, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Whatever goes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. And so, in a brief partial synopsis of our opening lesson, upon the tip of our left ring finger, we could rest the great knuckle of our right ring finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Let us review mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, the sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, is wired or has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. On the other hand, now let us turn our attention to meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, the parasympathetic nervous system, divided by the lower third as well as the upper third of that same spinal cord, has evolved to support both our physical relaxation as well as our mental release. Therefore, during each inhalation, may we silently and mentally recite, noticing, and during each exhalation, may we silently and mentally recite, relaxing. Let us relaxingly recite the 28th passage of Prahevajra's vast expanse of the diamond-like mind. Welcome to this evening's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Together. For those whose attitude depends on time, it does not manifest in time. If one practices with an aspiration without being free, the saying on the characteristic of emptiness applies. For those whose attitude depends on time, it does not manifest in time. It here is a reference to enlightenment. There's a difference between our feelings and our intentions. Feelings just are flighty and they scamper about hither and yon, and that's fine. That's totally appropriate. However, the more time we practice in mindfulness and meditation, perhaps once every 12 hours or so, the more we will find that our choices and our utterances and our deeds flow from love's centered spontaneity. The centered spontaneity that yearns to benefit others. And so instead of our intention being based on circumstances, it's based on the centered spontaneity that is the fringe benefit of mindfulness and meditation. Let us begin again with the word for. For those whose attitude depends on time, it does not manifest in time. If one practices with an aspiration without being free, the sayings on the characteristics of emptiness apply. What does that mean? There's nothing wrong with shamanism or witchcraft, but it's a different path with different techniques going in a different direction. So if you wish to exert greater control, metaphysically exert greater metaphysical control over the factors of your life, then you may be drawn to shamanism or witchcraft, and that's your path. If you are drawn to let go, if you wish to go with the flow, that's a different path. So we're being told here to set aside contrived aspirations, contrived wishes for either selfish gain or even selfless benefit. The highest love, now 50% of the Buddha's eightfold path pertains to loving kindness. Kindness of intention, kindness of communication, kindness of conduct, kindness of commerce. Tip that waiter. Sorry, server. But the highest aspiration is the spontaneous and uncontrived byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. When we get lost in either selfish or selfless, baroque and complex aspirations and recitations, it might feel like we're doing something very important, wandering further and further away from the mastery of letting go. What do we mean here by emptiness? Whoops, something weird's going on. Let's hit this button. There we go. What do we mean by emptiness? As we relax into our exhalation, whatever wish we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be rather non-graspable to the hand. Let's continue. For those whose attitude depends on time, it does not manifest in time. If one practices with an aspiration without being free, the saying on the characteristic of emptiness applies. One more time. For those whose attitude depends on time, it does not manifest in time. By the way, In Time was a great science fiction political movie. If one practices with an aspiration without being free, the saying on the characteristic of emptiness applies. By way of review, let's review mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and even imagination. Now let us consider meditation. During each exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and therefore mentally release. Therefore, during each inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite noticing, and during each exhalation, let us silently and mentally recite relaxing. Let us relaxingly recite the 29th passage of Prahevajra's vast expanse of the diamond-like mind. It is one totally beyond an aspect. The yogi dwells in the pathways of the birds in the sky. The essence that never occurred and never originated, where are all phenomena supposed to exist? It is one totally beyond the detail. Whatever we notice as we relax into our exhalation, whatever details we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever details of left or right, or up and down, or in and out we might have noticed during our inhalation could taste of the same non-graspability. Let us continue. It is one totally beyond a detail. The yogi dwells in the pathways of birds in the sky. In the essence that never occurred and never originated, where are all phenomena supposed to exist? There are some people who always have a plan. They've got a 5-minute plan, a 5-day plan, a 5-month plan, a 5-year plan, and a 5-decade plan. That's the path of contrivance. And then on the other hand, they have some people who are just completely scattered. In the middle, we don't have scattered spontaneity. We have the centered spontaneity that is the byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. That is the path. That is the pathway of the true yogi, the true practitioner of the Buddha's teachings. It is one totally beyond a detail. The yogi dwells in the pathways of the birds of the skies. In the essence that never occurred and never originated, where are all phenomena supposed to exist? The location of things, beings, and phenomena as we relax into our exhalation. Various things, beings, and phenomena, the things, beings, and phenomena that we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as if they never occurred. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was as non-graspable as if it had never been born. It is one completely beyond the restriction of a detail. The yogi dwells in the pathways, the birds in the sky. In the essence that never occurred and never originated, where are all phenomena supposed to exist? Let us review mindfulness. Every time we inhale, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all manner of things. From the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. Let us review meditation. Every time we exhale, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we are wired to physically relax as well as mentally release. Therefore, during each inhalation, may we silently and mentally recite noticing, and during each exhalation, may we silently and mentally recite relaxing. Welcome to this evening's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Welcome to the final quarter of this evening's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Let us relaxingly recite this 30th passage of Parahevajra's vast expanse of the Dhamma-like mind. Let us recite this for 4 repetitions together. Outer and inner are both. The outer is the inner. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. Existence is only a name, the power of mistake. Thus one remains separate from the quality of meditation. Outer and inner are both. The outer is the inner. Allow me to explain. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever distinctions of outer or inner we might have noticed during our previous inhalation can begin to feel as if they share the same non-graspable nature, even if that non-graspability is fleeting and temporary and maybe not even perfect. Together. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. The wisdom of letting go is not the product of blind, superstitious faith, nor the product of self-important mental gymnastics, pseudo-intellectual mental gymnastics. Au contraire, it's the easy path. Simply by relaxing in harmony with our parasympathetic nervous system as we exhale, we gain a visceral understanding of the wisdom of letting go that pertains to that which we noticed during our previous inhalation. It's not an intellectual path, it's a visceral path. I'm reminded of that wonderful Mike Myers line from Austin Powers. Get in my belly. Only instead of saying that to a baby, we're saying that to wisdom. Let's continue. Existence is only a name, the power of mistake. Thus one remains separate from the equality of meditation. There is a phrase the Buddha taught, name and form, or in other words, labeling. We are wired to label and to take our labels very, very seriously. And in the short term, that might help with survival. But in the long term, that can make us rigid and cranky and anxious and controlling and undermine any hopes of leading a fulfilling life. Remembering that whenever we relax into our exhalation, the labels we clung to so fiercely during our inhalation could feel less tantalizing, less permanent, less defining. Let's continue. Outer and inner are both. The outer is the inner. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. Existence is only a name, the power of mistake. Thus one remains separate from the equality of meditation. Some people tell me, new meditation students often tell me, I'm scared of mistakes. To which, as a wise ass, I respond, don't worry, you will make them. Great subtle ones and great big fat nasty ones. The question is not who doesn't make mistakes. The question is who learns from them, not intellectually, but viscerally. Let's continue. The outer and the inner are both. The outer is the inner. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. Existence is only a name, the power of mistake. Thus one remains separate from the equality of meditation. When we fall under the thrall of the tyranny of our own rigidity, our own perfectionism, we can forget of the magic, the metaphoric magic of relaxing during our exhalation. That takes whatever we notice during our inhalation, whatever dualities we notice during our inhalation, and makes them feel like they both have a common denominator. The common denominator of change, the common denominator of non-graspability. The duality we notice during our inhalation is the duality of external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. As we breathe in, we're wired to beneficially observe dualities. But as we relax into our exhalation, those dualities melt into one, if only momentarily, if only fleetingly. We come now to the final meditation of the evening. Let's review. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, the sympathetic nervous system is wired to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all manner of phenomena, from the dangerous to the safe, from the scarce to the abundant, from the painful to the pleasurable, from the scornful to the praising, from shame to fame, and all points in between. Let us review meditation. Every time we exhale, we are already wired by our parasympathetic nervous system to physically relax as well as mentally release. Therefore, during each inhalation, may we silently and mentally recite noticing. And during each exhalation, may we silently and mentally recite relaxing. Together, let us play with this for approximately 48 rounds. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 13 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.